Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you this week with an episode that's divisible by 4. The math is getting really hard to do on these. So that means it's time to do the news. And we actually have a lot of news for an early June news episode. I think we can safely say that. Unfortunately, a lot of it's sad news.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a bummer.
Usual promise here.
Mm-hmm.
You stick with us through some of the bad stuff in the beginning. We promise to get you through the other side. And when you do, we'll have some happy stuff to send you home with. Mm-hmm. So, patience. Be with us today. But you know what? If you don't feel like the news, maybe you want some other haunted attraction related content, we got tons. 391 other episodes. Mm-hmm. I counted. You can find those at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/hauntweekly. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Pay special attention to the Facebook page. We will be making announcements there hopefully soon. I know we keep saying it, but we really are working on it and nudging our way to having some new live episodes and some live content coming soon. We just hit a few snafus in the process.
Yeah, we should just stop saying it, and then maybe we'll actually do it.
Yeah, maybe. Just some minor complications. Well, anyways, every week we ask a question of the week. And last week's question of the week was, what are some good signs, i.e. green flags, that you notice when visiting a haunt? And we got some great answers. Maximus Christian Bride, who's always first on these, I think, said, when they ask for feedback, especially when they're being visited by other haunters, the willingness to grow and learn. I think that is especially important if the haunt is relatively new. Like when we did our Biloxi run, we stopped at one haunt, and I don't know if they recognized us or we were the only people there.
Yeah.
So they felt like asking us. But they asked us for feedback, and we gave it to them. And I mean, overall, we actually really enjoyed it. But yeah, they were a haunt in the middle of the goddamn nowhere. Was the biggest problem I think they had. But no, so yeah, I get that. And they were also a new haunt. That was like their second or third year of being open. So yeah, I agree. In the first years especially, that's very important.
Yeah. Roberta McClellan said clear signage of entrance, exit gift shop, attractions, etc.
Basically, can I find my way around the property?
Can I find my way around? Do I have shit to do?
You know, we actually did a whole episode on signage. And I think the best advice we gave is put up as many signs as you think you need and then double or triple it. And then maybe you'll have as many signs as you actually need. It's like fucking firewood. You got to follow that rule, right? Chris Gay said a web presence with some original pictures and or video. Thank you. Thank you for that. That is such a good fucking point.
That's touching your little designer heart, isn't it?
Oh, and you're a photographer heart too. You should be like fucking beating a little faster here too, because that speaks to everything that we've been talking about from a marketing standpoint. And it's so frustrating. Like we've seen haunts here locally do it where they'll have a cool looking commercial. But you look it up and it's all literally stock clips from like Video Jungle or something like that. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. And the thing is, it's like, just get a photographer there, get a videographer there, take some shots.
Show your shit.
Do some B-roll, get your shit together. It'll be great.
Yeah, and I'm not the only one coughing in the house, so you might hear some coughing coming from the background.
Yes.
Okay, Brian Gack said, when he looks at reviews, he likes to see professionalism and courtesy on the haunt's part. Also, actors saying it's a good place to work.
Yeah, he doesn't actually look at the reviews, but how the haunts respond to the reviews.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good, because that is actually why we had a falling out with an area haunt years ago, was someone posted a negative review. I think it was on Facebook. And I'll say this about the haunt: that even though we were friends with this haunt, we liked them,
Hmm.
we knew them. The criticism that was delivered seems both probable and like a fair criticism.
Yeah.
Basically, it was about an actor going too far or too hard.
They got a mild injury.
Yeah, and that is, I will say that haunt did not have a very good safety record, and that was something we flagged in our reviews.
Yeah.
Um, but the haunt, rather than saying, I'm sorry this happened, we're going to learn from it, we've changed some policies, moved
Yeah.
the room around, made changes, they literally just attacked this person.
Yeah.
Straight fire, name calling, ugly attack. And that was the last time we ever had to deal with that haunt because
Yeah. And now they ain't there no more.
yeah, they ain't there no more. So fuck it. That's it. We're done. We saw that, and it's like we can't abide. We can forgive haunts that maybe are a little more reckless because we can try to like nudge them to be safer. We
Hmm.
want to try to nudge haunts to focus on that. And they weren't like going to kill anybody, I think, but they were. Yeah, it was a fair criticism. And Sam Farrell says the consistency of knowledge and helpfulness between all staff. He said that if the ticket booth and the gift shop and the food vendors, etc., they should all be at least knowledgeable, if not experts on the haunt.
Yeah.
And that's a valid point, though. The food vendors might be a problem
Mm.
because oftentimes they actually don't work for the haunt. They're just renting space at the haunt.
Yeah.
Though I gotta say, if you rent space to a food vendor, give the food vendor a free trip through first thing, like opening night or something. Let them be one of the tests
Hmm.
so they can see the haunt and they can talk intelligently about it to anyone who does ask.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. And also, it's just a cool way to show that you give a shit about your food vendors.
Hmm.
Just saying. But still, I do agree with that everyone on that property working for the haunt should have at least a basic level of knowledge.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I agree completely. So, this week's question of the week, this one should be really fun. What is your favorite customer interaction in a haunt, either a haunt you were visiting or a haunt that you were working at?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one
Okay.
because we're going to see some good ones. What were some of yours? What was your favorite?
So, a favorite interaction as a customer uh would be when we went to shoot, the Insanitarium.
Yeah, Sanitarium, yeah, in Birmingham.
Yeah, we were standing in line and Chris Screws recognized us, pointed us out, and you made some comment about, "Oh, you know who we are?" And he said, "Well, we have the internet here in rural Alabama," and put on, fake Southern accent.
That wasn't why. I didn't think
I
they would
know.
know for the record. I thought they wouldn't know because we haven't reviewed haunts in Alabama at that point.
I know.
We had not covered anything in Alabama.
We had not, and it was really early in Garbage Order,
Yeah, it was like the
too.
first, like year 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I think that was actually, and the other reason was it was probably one of our first times being that recognized.
Yeah.
Like we were used to being recognized at
Exactly.
like House of Shock when it was open, and things like in 13th Gate.
Infamous at House of Shock.
Well, and House of Shock, Not No Orleans Nightmare is actually was seen in one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Going through a haunt, and when the actors come on, me put you in a cage, and Japes, of course, would immediately jump on this
Mhm.
for the correct reason of he can't actually go through that thread,
Yeah.
which is why my response is, oh, not the first time today.
Mhm.
And I just sort of, come on, and he looked at me and says, oh, hell, I don't know how to answer that one. And this
Yeah.
walks off, which, hey, at least he went for the laugh.
Yeah, and do you want to do the opposite of a customer interaction at our haunt?
Oh, yeah, the opposite end of
Because
out.
we have both sides of
Yeah,
it.
we do.
That's one of the things about us.
Mine has got to be the 2 kids who pulled on the coattails of Bernie. And Mister, like these were kids. He's like, 7, like they were like 6 or 7. They're fairly young though. And are we going through the haunt the long way or the short way? And I just froze
Uh-huh.
because I've been through that haunt 8 bajillion times. There's only one way.
Hmm.
There's only one path. I assure you. And so I lean and go, what's the difference? And make it act like I'm teasing it from them. And they go, well, the short way, they don't do anything or try to scare you. And the long way, everyone tries to like kill you and murder you and you barely make it out alive or something. Just go, well, long way it is. So, they had a great time though. They had a
Yeah.
great time. They did not cry or anything. They fucking loved it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually very proud of that one. And yours?
I think that it has to be when a mom and her kids were being like loud and they were entering the library scene. We had a library scene this year.
Mhm.
And I said, shh, or you won't be able to hear the stories. And she sat down with the kids around her on the ground and they were ready for story time. Like, and now I took it as a learning moment because people listen to me and will do what I say.
Well, and you actually executed on the threat
Yeah,
and
I
gave them some
did.
story. So you did not pull, and Japes would be proud of that, I
Yeah.
think. And even though it was not in, the coded responses,
Right.
you still managed to actually execute the
Oh
threat.
yeah, no, I told him a story about how the books were all filled with lies about how true happiness doesn't come from love or success. It comes from the screams of children and then through something close-ish but very far away. It seemed close to them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's amazing how simple something like that can
yeah,
be for instilling a wee little bit of fear in people.
yeah.
All right, well, it's also an even numbered episode,
Hmm.
so we should definitely do our conference reminders, and I guess you will kick us off.
Okay.
Sorry, she was taking a drink. I did not see that until after I tried to hand the
It's all
football
right.
off.
That's fine. Midwest Hunters Convention is June 8th and 11th.
This weekend!
Yes, this weekend at the Rosemont, Illinois, Donald E. Stevens Convention Center.
I really
The
fucked her up.
pre-convention bus tour visiting Hush Haunted Attraction, Eloise Asylum, and Erebus. That's a great lineup. Friday night
No
tour
kidding.
of Old Juliet Haunted Prison,
Mm-hmm.
after party, and more. And you can find out all of that information and what tickets are now costing at MidwestHuntersConvention.com.
All right, after that, June 23rd through the 25th in Munich, Michigan. It is Michigan Haunt Fest at the Oaks Campground. There'll be demos and make and takes. They want to remind everyone, though, that meals are not provided. And Saturday, adults will be charged a $2 entry fee in addition to any tickets for the actual event because it's at a campground. Use your heads. MichiganHauntFest.weebly.com for more information.
All right. And next up, we have Texas Haunters Convention, July 15th and the 16th in Mesquite, Texas, at the Convention Center, featuring a trade show floor, costume ball on Saturday, door prizes, contest, game night, TexasHauntersConvention.com.
They're doing everything.
Yeah.
They got a
There's a
laundry
lot.
list. There's a lot of shit to do. Look it up. All right, and this one I keep wanting to say Harrowing Corn, Idaho, because it's Idaho. But Idaho's potatoes.
Yeah.
Why am I drawing that? Anyways, it's Harrowing Con, Idaho, July 21st through the 23rd in Garden City, Idaho, at the North Expo Hall at Expo, Idaho, featuring home haunt classes, pro haunt classes, costuming, makeup. It can't go wrong. IdahoHorror.com for tickets and information. Yeah. Oh, sounds pretty goddamn cool. So yeah, it is definitely, I think, safe to say this is haunted attraction convention season.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that Transworld's in winter and HauntCon is like right around New Year usually, but like the largest number of events come during summer, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So, anyways, as we mentioned earlier, it is time to do the news, and we actually have a fair amount to go over, starting with a story we touched on 2 weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
Basically, Fear Fair is closing after 22 years. This comes directly from Fear Fair's Facebook, but also from Brett Hayes directly. And yeah, this is sad and heavy. The announcement reads, "We are sad to announce that the 22-year run of Fear Fair has come to a close. We are unable to secure liability insurance going forward and must cease operations." Basically, according to Brett Hayes, someone snuck past their Midway staff, managed to access the climbing wall without the necessary safety gear and harnesses and all that, and then managed to injure themselves. And despite being the douche in the situation, decided to sue, and that caused their liability insurance provider to drop them, and they've unable to secure other coverage.
Yeah, and that's crazy because the person broke the rules.
Yeah.
Like, they had to go around something to get on this wall, and then
At the
they
very least, they didn't
sue.
buy a ticket and go the
Yeah,
official way.
exactly. So it's just it's heartbreaking that that's the way it ends.
It is.
Um,
I mean, yeah. 2 weeks ago, we covered like the urgent stuff,
mhm,
which was basically stop trying to give Brett Hayes suggestions on what to do.
yeah,
It's Brett fucking Hayes. He's thought of everything. I'm pretty sure.
mhm,
If he doesn't have an answer, there probably ain't an answer.
yeah,
But it really sucks. It really sucks because this was actually on our bucket list of haunts. We'd mentioned it a few
mhm,
times. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, we were going this year. No, we hadn't planned a trip that way this year.
right.
But we definitely were looking to go at some point when the stars aligned.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it had been open 22 years. What was
Why are we being
why
urgent about it?
close? Yeah,
What's the rush?
yeah.
It'll be there forever. And then, no. They are working on creating a charity and selling off all the stuff in the hall and hopefully raise some good money for good causes that way.
Yeah.
So hopefully something positive will come out of this. But yeah, this just sucks.
Mhm.
There's no way to spin this story so that it's, sounds even remotely positive. And the reason just is fair, judging from what Brett Hayes said, and once again, I have implicit trust of Brett Hayes, especially since he's a lawyer and knows what defamation would do.
Yeah.
I have 100% trust in him that his version is accurate. So basically, it just means any tool bag who violates our rules can shut down these haunts. Shut
Yeah.
down a haunt.
Yeah, because it doesn't
It's
sound
been going
like
on for 2 decades.
yeah, it doesn't sound like the haunt was doing anything wrong. It just
Weren't
sounds
being
like
reckless or negligent.
no, it just sounds like an idiot did something, hurt themselves, and then caused issues for them.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks. And the thing for me is that insurance is going to be a big problem for haunts.
Yeah.
I read an article the other day about how certain states are already becoming uninsurable for homeowners insurance. Florida, Louisiana, we've run into this problem here.
Yes.
Florida, Louisiana, and California
Mhm.
are basically badlands for homeowners insurance right now due to various natural disasters and various hits. But it's a kind of it's bigger problem than either that because the issue the haunt industry has, and I think what we need to kind of watch out for, is we're too small of an industry to be a known quantity at risk.
Yeah.
We've talked extensively about how small of an industry we are, and just to remind everyone, if you took all the revenue haunted attractions made in a year, as estimated by I can't remember who, Haunted Attraction Association, I think was the one that did the estimate. But if you took all the revenue made by haunts in a year, it's less than the revenue from one blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
And the movie industry is not seen as a very large industry either.
Mm-mm.
It's seen as a culturally important industry, but not as a large industry as far as like money goes.
Right.
Um,
It's not oil.
Yeah, it's not oil. It's not even, it's not even like renewables or anything like that. It's just a fairly tiny industry. And the problem with that is insurance in general. And to have some clarification here, I come at this with a background in medical insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll use auto insurance because all insurance works fundamentally the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You get a large enough pool of people, and the odds, roughly, basically, if you get a large enough pool of people, you can predict with amazing accuracy how many of those people are going to get into car accidents, how many of them are going to get injured, how many of them are going to get sick, how much money you're going to need to outlay for their care or to repair the car or whatever. You can figure it out, but you need a large pool in order to establish that.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have a large pool. Even if one insurance company oversaw every haunt,
Mm-hmm.
it probably wouldn't be big enough.
Right.
For this type of risk assessment. And so what I assume has been going on is that a lot of insurance companies have been pairing us up with like amusement parks
Mm-hmm.
or, or parks in general or something else that is similar-ish. But we're very much a unique industry with the dangers and the potential issues largely being exclusive to us.
Yeah.
We do things that nobody else does.
Right.
And that's cool, but it's also a problem. So I'm kind of fearing that as insurance gets more skittish,
Hmm.
because that's been a trend we've been seeing broadly, as insurance gets more skittish, we're either going to see a spike in rates or even worse, a situation like Brett's where there's just nobody willing to take the risk.
Hmm.
And like I said, it's already been happening with homeowners insurance here, Florida, California was also mentioned. Um, so yeah, insurance broadly seems to be getting more risk adverse, which is hilarious because it's insurance. That's
Yeah,
that's the reason you exist as an industry, insurance.
exactly.
And I'm worried that this is not going to be the last time we tell this story. But that said, I am not an expert on insurance. Like I do have some background in medical insurance, but not enough to really be an expert anyway. So we would still love to talk with someone who is an expert, especially in this type of business insurance.
Hmm.
Please let us know if you have any in contacts there. You know, HauntWeek.com, HauntWeek on Twitter, HauntWeek on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
Please let us know. All right.
Right. Um, West New York business is saying that the neighbors are trying to shut them down, and this is an article by Chris Owen at WYRK.
Yeah, that's a mouthful to say.
uh, the Haunted Forest opened in 2020 in Newfane, and basically they are a haunted attraction. Corn made hay rides and other activities are on the property.
Yeah.
So it's an evening. It's
Yeah.
an evening out.
Yeah, and it's farm related, which becomes important, as we'll get into.
Yeah. And the property has gotten a lot popular since the pandemic. Like they started in the pandemic. So anyway, their their neighbors have said that they don't like the event, basically. And so despite the above stated positive facts, um they only operate for 18 days out of the year and they close everything down by 11. And the community is still trying to say that they're a detriment.
Yeah.
And the zoning board is
Yeah.
so they've reached out to the zoning
Well,
board to try
there
to
was
get
a-
them shut down.
Yeah, there was a meeting with the zoning board on May 24th,
Yeah.
and now we got an update on it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So the zoning board met and they are requiring them to perform an environmental impact study.
Which doesn't seem related to any of the complaints.
It doesn't. It seems like they found a loophole for how to go after them.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I think I might know why, but continue.
All right. So such studies cost between 1,000 and 100,000 and can take several months, and the studies usually require infrastructure projects like bridges or refineries and stuff that have environmental impact.
Yeah, you don't typically see this for corn maze.
Yeah.
And they sounded pretty defeated
Yeah.
in their most recent update. They said that they're having trouble fighting further. They've already spent 10K plus in legal bills,
Uh-huh.
and they don't know if they're going to find a way to get open again. They're still trying, but it doesn't look particularly good. And this is an insanely frustrating story because here's the thing. I genuinely believe that this is a situation where everybody is telling their truth. And like, I believe the haunt when they say they shut down at 11, and they even mentioned that they had, the some officials on site to monitor that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about that is they may shut down by 11. Their operation may be done by 11. But especially in a rural area where there's not necessarily anything else to go to immediately,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean everyone's left at 11.
Right.
It doesn't mean there aren't people milling about and in the area at 11. And so it sounds to me like my hunch, this is purely a hunch. So we're pulling in the speculation station pretty hard here,
Yeah.
is that the neighbors did have some issues with noise and other problems after hours,
Mm-hmm.
but they were not necessarily under the control of the haunt.
Yeah.
And rather than trying to work with the haunt to find a way to resolve these issues, they went straight to the zoning board and straight to this approach.
Yeah.
And the zoning board, I suspect, decided on this environmental study. This, once again, speculation station hard here. But I actually did a little research into this topic a while back when we visited a local haunt, which had a big sign about agrotourism.
Yeah.
And it turns out agrotourism in general is a super protected activity.
Hmm.
It's, basically it is because, like, for example, in an agrotourism attraction, you go there, you waive a lot of your safety rights that you normally would have.
Hmm.
Basically you're acknowledging the ground's going to be uneven. It might not be handicap accessible. Agrotourism is given a lot of protection legally, so this may have been one of the things they could do under the law to kind of push this haunt to closure.
Yeah.
And that is really a piss off.
Yeah.
Because the thing is this, I'm a big advocate, and one of the things we have to always be careful of is keeping our neighbors on side.
Yeah.
Every year, early October, we're going around, we're talking to neighbors. If there's any new ones, we're introducing ourselves, possibly for the first time.
Yeah.
We're telling them what's going on. Here's our phone numbers. This is the phone numbers of our front of house staff. If you have any issues, call, text, let us know. We will take care of you. You all are our priority, basically.
Yeah.
And we've never had a problem.
No, we have
This
not.
proactive approach has really saved our skin a lot.
Yes. Yeah. We hand out flyers and sometimes baked goods.
Baked goods help a lot, actually. You'd be
They really
amazed
do.
how much goodwill you can buy with some fresh cookies.
Uh-huh.
I'm not even kidding about that. It's kind of incredible. So yeah, I don't want to criticize the haunt. I think this is a situation where some neighbors had possibly a legitimate issue that probably wasn't under the haunt's actual control. But rather than working with the haunt, trying to find a resolution or doing something else, anything else, just targeted the business for a shutdown.
Yeah.
So, and that's frustrating. And that's one of the reasons why being proactive with neighbors is important, but I'm not saying they weren't because I don't know. But still, it's just a frustrating situation. And I hope they're able to work something out. All right. Well, speaking of closures, this one's a bit more of a brief one. This is an article by Zoe Mussel at 3 News Now Omaha. The Shadow's Edge haunted house is closing after 20 years. Exactly 20 years, no less. Basically, in Omaha, Nebraska, the Shadow's Edge haunted house has announced that they will be running their last season in 2023. And then it will cap a 20-year run. They did not give a reason for the closure.
No, they didn't.
And the fact that they're doing it so early, it made me suspicious that maybe they had an issue similar to the other haunts we've been talking about. But that doesn't make sense if you're going to be able to open this year.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So I don't think that's it. I think this might be a voluntary choice. They do not have details on their 2023 season yet at all. This is like the first announcement they've made about 2023. It sucks. My hope is that the haunt and the haunters that work there will find new ways to express their love of haunting.
Yeah.
Their website has not been updated since 2022. So
nope.
There's literally there's no information. They gave like zero details as a 2-paragraph statement. We've already talked about it way more than they did.
Yeah.
But still, it's sad. I hope it's for positive reasons.
Me too.
Like retirement. Retirement's a good reason.
It is.
Retirement's a good reason. We should support retirement.
Yeah, we should be able to get to retire someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
Someday it'd be nice.
All right.
All right. Moving on.
All right. We've talked about the It-themed escape room before,
yes.
But now it is opened.
And we have a look inside.
Yes, and this article is by Jason Braceland at the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It's a 31,000 square foot licensed escape room themed after the It franchise. So they actually got the licensing to use the actual character.
Well, given how much money they fucking spent on this thing, they better have the goddamn license.
Yeah, but it's a hybrid escape room and haunted house with immersive fright attraction. So it sounds like the reviewer doesn't really know how to describe it.
Yeah, and admittedly, judging from what the reporter was talking about, I wouldn't know how to describe it either.
Yeah, it's, we have a few of those in this industry. We have a few of those.
And it seems like it's an escape room with 16 separate challenges.
Right. exactly. And you were talking about how much they spent on it. They spent 90,000 on foliage alone.
Plant life for an indoor haunt.
Yes. And this is
TikTok, think about that a minute.
yeah. Yeah. So it was well over six figures for the whole thing.
Yeah, I by that I know that's their coy way of saying they spent over $1 million on it.
Yeah.
But they clearly spent well over $1 million on it because they also said they spent $100,000 on one of the 16 rooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is batshit insane.
It really is. But they have announced that a new room is going to be coming out, and it's going to be focused on Chapter 2 this coming summer, with over a dozen rooms in that game.
Yeah. So you'll have It Chapter 1 with 16 rooms, It Chapter 2 with a dozen plus rooms. I guess they haven't finally nailed down exactly how
Yeah.
many rooms. And these things sound mammoth. I mean, like I said, they say that this is the largest escape room in the world.
Yeah.
And at 31,000 feet, I'm inclined to believe it.
Yeah, me too. And
I actually, if you know a bigger escape room, please let us know. I can't think of any escape room that's bigger. And I've seen some huge escape rooms, like Cutthroat Cavern and 13th Gate is huge.
yeah, and this is like a single experience. This isn't
Yeah.
this isn't, a place that has multiples.
Yeah. You go through them in sequence is the way they make it
Yeah.
seem. So
And it looks really cool. I'm going through the photos.
yeah, the photos, and this is definitely one of the times you're going to want to click the article and see the images because they actually took a lot of photos from inside this thing, and they are very, very good looking photos. So if we're ever in Vegas, I know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, no way I'm getting around that. Speaking of plans, if I happen to travel, if I end up in Surrey, England, A, what the fuck was I doing? But B, according to this article by David Whitworth at Interpark, I should check out Thorpe Park's new Ghost Train ride. Ghost Train attraction. I'm sorry, attraction. It's an attraction, not a ride. But yes, basically they have opened a new haunted attraction at Thorpe Park, which is a very large theme park in the area. And it opened May 26th. They call it one of the UK's longest ride experiences. It features a combination of live actors and multisensory effects. And I fucking hate the word multisensory effects. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If I jump out at you and scream at you, that's a multisensory effect. Because I've hit you with the sense of me jumping out at you, seeing me, and the scream, which is audio. That's two senses, that's multisensory.
True.
What they actually mean they're doing is they're probably going to do something involving cold, heat, touch,
Sense.
scent, smells, things like that. I don't know how well to convey that, but multisensory experience is not it.
No.
We've got to find a better term than that. Because that does not actually describe it.
Yeah.
So no, this is an interesting one. I've been really impressed at just how many dark ride attractions have been opening outside the United States.
Yeah, and I think that it really goes to the work of the documentary
Mhm.
who was documenting all of, as documentaries do, all
Really,
of-
documentarians make documentaries where they document things?
exactly. In this case, dark rides.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Gonna be a long one, folks. But yeah, no, I think this is. But I'm so happy to see it. And they actually, I pulled up the Thorpe Park site, which I mean, I just think that's a terrible name for a park, but whatever. I'm not British. And they have the advertisement for this ride front and center the minute you load up the site.
Yeah.
So they are really promoting the Jesus out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah. All right. Next is an article by Andrew Schitterer at Online Athens about the University of Georgia. They had students who hosted Haunt Fest Mayhem.
Like this month.
Yeah, this month. Not last season, not coming up, but this month. Roseanne Harpold, whose family runs Harpold Manor in Bowman, Georgia, organized the event and enrolled students that were enrolled in an entrepreneurship program, um, Haunt Fest is to prove Athens would attend a year-round spooky attraction. So basically, they're testing the waters.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. They're saying, hey, we've got this random haunt opening in May. Who's going to come?
Yeah, and I don't think that's a good test of the water for a year-round attraction, because at that point you're doing something novel and new with a limited time run.
Mhm.
Having something that's going to be open every weekend or every month or whatever is a much different ordeal. But yeah, basically they were a little ambiguous on what Haunt Fest was, but it seems like it was a haunted attraction basically.
Yeah.
With maybe some outside elements. I do love that the photo they use in this article has Fred in the background.
Yeah.
The zombie Fred. Fred, we have the first animatronics, in fact, I think the only animatronics we bought really,
Yeah.
were Fred and Wilma. We bought them from Spirit back in like 2005 or 2006.
Yeah. I think it was the after Halloween sales, 2005.
Yeah, I think it was. And we had your mom stand in line for hours to get them,
Yeah.
but because there wasn't a Spirit in New Orleans.
Mhm.
So it had to be 2005. There were Spirits in New Orleans in 2006.
Yeah.
So yeah, it had to be 2005. But yeah, and they've actually proved to be very good animatronics. They've held up well. They still work.
Yes. We did try to buy something else later, and it broke on pawn setup, and we've never bought another one since.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the thing. It's like since we bought that, the quality of Spirit props has gone downhill, while the cost has gone sharply uphill.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah,
We're not a fan of that.
we're not a fan of that. That's a bad juju. That's some bad math there, man.
Mhm.
We don't like that. So yeah, we haven't bought anything else, but we still have Fred and Wilma,
Mhm.
and we do enjoy them. In fact, Fred has residency in my office,
Mhm.
and if you've gone back and watched any of our garbage horror reviews, you'll see Fred in the background. But yeah, there's Fred hanging out in the photo. Now, one thing I did find cool is I did check out the Harpold Manor.
Yeah.
It looks like an absolutely fucking charming charity haunt, and I absolutely would go to this if I lived in South Carolina still. I'd make a trip to it because it just
Yeah.
looks fucking charming and wonderful, and it looks like all the things we love from a charity haunt. It's just got lots of spirit and not a lot of money.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me too.
Brings out some real creativity, and
Mhm.
I don't know. They just looked absolutely charming, and I was so desperate to go. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't live in Columbia anymore. I can't just pop down to Georgia
No.
any old time I want. All right, next up, Statesville Haunted Prison is hosting a garage sale.
Yes.
This post is from the Statesville Prison Facebook, and it's in Lockport, Illinois. Basically, June 16th through the 18th. Check the Facebook post we'll link to for the exact hours. At Hell's Gate Haunted House, they will be offering Halloween decor, animatronics, static props, costumes, yard decor, furniture, antiques, and other random bits and bobs from Statesville.
Mhm.
Fans of Statesville are encouraged to go and get some memorabilia.
Yeah.
Haunters are encouraged to go and get some spooky stuff. And just Halloween lovers in general will probably find something that they can use. It seems like a great opportunity. And I will tell you 100%, if I were anywhere near Chicago,
Oh, yeah.
there's an 8,000% chance I would be there.
Me too. Absolutely.
There's no way I would not be there. Because, yeah, that's just, it's absolutely crazy.
I kind of want to go now.
I know, but it's completely impractical because
It is.
we'd have to drive up there so that we could take stuff back.
So unless something happens with work and I'm able to just take off to go driving, then yeah, that's probably not happening.
No. Yeah, no, this is, but this is so rare to hear of a big name. I know Statesville closed,
Hmm.
but it's still so rare to hear of a big haunt like this having a garage sale.
Yeah, like I would love the 13th Gate to have a garage sale. Like
Hey,
I
Dwayne, you hearing this?
I would have bought something.
Oh yeah, but it got some memorabilia. I
Yeah.
mean, and then and best part is you don't actually have to close the haunt to have the garage sale. You can just sell old stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so theoretically, like, you know, I mean, Statesville did close, which sucks, but you know, get some memorabilia, get something to remember it by, get some cool haunt stuff. This sounds like a great way to keep the spirit of the haunt alive,
Yeah.
at least in the
And
way only haunters can.
And I bet that former actors
Oh
will be
God.
going there to buy memorabilia from their characters.
Yeah, I'd be going if I were an actor at Statesville. I would 100% be going there with the intent of buying a costume that I wore or something.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
That would be too good of an opportunity. I would love that, and that way I could just use that for evas and evas, or at very least have memories about it. Because haunt memories are very ethereal and very ethereal. They don't, seem to stick around a lot sometimes
Hmm.
because we don't always get stuff to remind us of the memories.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this is a great opportunity.
Hmm.
And our final story.
All right. Hunters Against Hate, Paul Lanner, was interviewed by Bear World Mag, and I did not put, shame on me for not putting
Yeah.
the person who interviewed him.
And it was so great the interview was published on his birthday. I'm gonna get my
Kyle
ass kicked
Jackson.
next time I see him.
Kyle Jackson's the one that interviewed Paul. But yeah, Paul has won an award for the book Hunters of the Book of Hunters Volume 9, and the prize was that both he and his book were promoted on digital billboards in Times Square. If you follow Paul or Hunters Against Hate, you've seen the
The photo,
image
yeah.
of him. And this was a Blurbs Up in Light contest, Up in Lights.
Yeah.
So, it's great that he got this so close to Pride Month. Happy Pride. And it's a really interesting interview. He discusses how he wishes that there were more year-round haunts and the importance of haunts for the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah. And I'm really glad for it because even though historically at least the haunted attractions have been something of a safe haven for LGBTQ, the weirdos, the outcast, etc. LGBTQ, that has included LGBTQ a lot. There's still not necessarily a lot of visibility between the LGBTQ and the haunted attraction industry.
Mm-hmm.
And with recent things that have happened in the industry, such as what, of course, led to the founding of Hunters Against Hate.
Yeah.
We don't have, and I don't think we deserve the reputation we once did of being the safe place for LGBTQ.
No, so I think that there's definitely been some light shed on the darker underbelly of the industry.
I agree with that.
In recent years.
It's sad and frustrating, but also necessary because we can't do better if we don't know what the problems and issues are.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but no, congratulations, Paul.
Yeah.
For helping with the crossover, making it a remix, if you will.
Yeah.
And having a reason that Haunt Weekly can now link Bear World Mag.
Yeah, exactly. And also he said that Hunters Against Hate, the convention, or the event.
The event. It was not a convention, it was the event.
The event will return in 2024.
Oh, so it's taking this year off?
Yeah, he's taking this year off because he's going to Carolina Fear Fest or he just did, because that was in May. And then he's going to Texas Hunters Convention.
Which makes me sad we can't go to Texas Hunters Convention.
Yeah, I know.
And unfortunately, we can't. It has nothing to do with Texas Hunters Convention. They're wonderful.
Yeah.
but
No.
we can't.
Yeah, I
Specifically Crystal can't. I can go, but
I tried to die last time I was there.
Well, I think the air simply tried to kill you, and
Yeah.
because it's not their fault that you have like the weirdest allergy in the whole of human history.
No, it's
But no,
not.
go to Texas Hunters Convention is great. By all means, go. Just have a drink for Crystal if you go, please.
Yeah, and this is another one to click on and read the full interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and if you do go to Texas Hunters Festival, please be sure to wish Paul happy birthday.
Yes.
Well, on that note, I think we're done with the news. Yeah, like I said, started out depressing. Hopefully it ended a little bit happier.
Yeah.
Paul is still out there getting tons of great publicity and doing some awesome things. Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending the past 45 minutes with us. We greatly appreciate it. Sorry we're late this week. As you've heard, Crystal's still recovering from her cold, and apparently I'm not 100% over mine.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. We get the cold,
Mhm.
but we separate it by a week perfectly to interfere with our recording.
Well, yeah.
I mean, how else would we get them?
Yeah.
Hopefully, though, we're running out of colds.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, we'll be on time next week. But to keep us honest on that, please visit all the places we are: hauntweekly.com, hauntweekly on Twitter, hauntweekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/hauntweekly. But until next time, I'm Jonathan,
I'm Crystal.
and we will see you all next week with more haunted attraction-related goodness. See you then.